Hi, my name is Josie Spar, and this is my Lab 2 video. So for my upper body joint, I chose the shoulder joint, and the exercise I chose was the lat pull down. So in the concentric phase, consists of pulling the bar down. The prime mover would be the latissimus dorsi, or the lats, and the joint action would be shoulder adduction because you are moving the arms downward towards the body's midline. The plane of motion occurs in the frontal plane, but movement of the arms follows the general motion of the sagittal plane as the body stays aligned. So during the concentric phase of the lat pull down, the latissimus dorsi contracts to pull the bar downwards towards the chest. This action involves shoulder adduction as the arms are brought downward and towards the body's midline. The movement takes place primarily in the frontal plane, but the body remains aligned in the sagittal plane. As far as the eccentric phase, that consists of releasing the bar back up, stretching those lats out as you come up. The prime mover, again, is the latissimus dorsi. The joint action would be shoulder abduction because you are now moving the arms away from the body's midline. And in the eccentric phase, the latissimus dorsi works to slowly control the release of the bar back up to the starting position. The arms move into shoulder abduction as the lats lengthen to resist the upward movement of the weight. The primary movement still occurs in the frontal plane, but the sagittal plane governs the overall alignment and motion. So for my lower body joint, I chose the hip joint, and I chose the exercise of the deadlift. So the concentric phase would be lifting the bar up from the ground. The prime movers are the gluteus maximus, the hamstrings, and lower back or erector spinae. The joint action would be hip extension because you are bringing the thighs back and straightening the hips out. The plane of motion is the sagittal plane because that is where flexion and extension occurs. So during the concentric phase of the deadlift, the gluteus maximus and hamstrings contract to extend the hip joint, straightening the lower body as one rises. This action primarily involves hip extension, where the pelvis moves forward as the hips straighten out. The movement occurs in the sagittal plane as the body moves forward and upward along a straight line. As far as the eccentric phase goes, that consists of lowering the bar back down to the ground with the same prime movers as the concentric phase, but the action this time would be hip flexion because you are now bending the hips and lowering the torso towards the ground. Plane of motion is still sagittal. So in the eccentric phase, the glutes, hamstrings, and lower back lengthen eccentrically to control the lowering of the barbell. As the hips flex, the torso moves downward and the hip joint bends forward or backward. This phase also occurs in the sagittal plane as the body moves in a forward and downward direction. Thank you.